Hi, my name's Lauren, and I'm here to talk about the two-party system, some of the problems with it, and ways I think we could fix it. There's a lot of political science and writers that have talked about this issue before, so this is just a compilation of a few of those thoughts. Modern American politics, especially over the last 20 years or so, have become increasingly polarized. Our two major political parties oppose each other on a lot of wedge issues with irreconcilable differences between their stances. We're voting at a time when political identities are usually shaped more by what you're against than what you're for. The two-party system isn't new, but in a healthy democracy, voters should feel as though they have a say in the outcome of an election. And some voters disengage because they see voting between the two political parties as choosing between, quote, the lesser of two evils, or neither party fully represents the political values they believe in. Throughout American history, Democrats and Republicans have reached an agreement on most legislative issues and the role of government, ideally finding a solution that suited the interests of all constituents. One downside of these two parties working together is that they can keep third parties from effectively establishing themselves as part of electoral politics. The main reason we have two major parties is because of how our elections work. The French sociologist Maurice Duverger identified a pattern in electoral politics in his book Political Parties, Their Organization and Activity in the Modern State. Now known as Duverger's law, he simply recognized that in districts where there is a single winner determined by who received the majority of votes, the electorate will tend to produce two-party systems. So in some way, voters have self-sorted themselves into two camps, in America, Democrat or Republican. But why doesn't every democracy in the world have two major political parties like us? These countries run their elections differently, such as having districts with multiple winners, or they used ranked choice voting instead of each voter making one vote for every position that's being filled. Ranked choice voting, even theoretically, makes American elections seem very coercive in comparison. Another reason the two political parties maintain dominance is because of the, quote, spoiler effect. The average voter perceives third parties, such as the Libertarians or the Green Party, to have on elections. Since the parties are fighting for the majority of votes and the majority of the electorate is voting between the red and blue party, a vote for any other party is viewed as a wasted vote. And the assumption is that the winner is going to come from one of the parties with the most backers. But there is an alternative. In fact, many political scientists such as Lee Drutman have published books like Breaking the Two-Party Doom Loop, where he advocates for ranked choice voting for positions in state and federal legislatures, along with expanding the House of Representatives so that the proportion of constituents each congressperson speaks for is closer to that of other democracies. Drutman also proposes making congressional districts multi-winner instead of single-delegate districts. There's one more proposition I learned about in the book Mediocre, The Dangerous Legacy of White Male America by Ijeoma Oluo. In it, she writes about Leni Guinier. Guinier proposed a system of cumulative voting, where voters would have several votes they get to spend, similar to ranked choice voting almost. Oluo says cumulative voting is a way to increase minority representation by pooling multiple votes across a larger group of candidates and allocating seats based on the pooled votes. I hope this was an informative video and got you curious about ways to reform the two-party system. All of Lee Drutman's ideas are completely constitutional. They just require legislation passed through Congress, so it's only a matter of time. Thanks.